A lot of people don't understand whenever you have a kid what happens. Like people think, "Oh yeah, we'll still get time together. It'll all be good." Yeah, it's going to be a lot with the kid, but it's just a different toll that it takes, all that stuff. It's not quite like that. Whenever you have a kid, like you can still be spending time with your partner, but it's not the same. Like you
Right.
are giving yourself and all your attention and all your energy to that child. So then it's like you're in the same room, but you're not in the same room.
I could relate to that.
Yeah, it's something that you have to kind of get
Work
used
on.
to.
You have to
Yeah.
continuously, and you have to put the time aside. If you really love
Yeah.
that person, you have to put the time aside for that connection.
You have to put time aside so you can have that actual time with that person, and it can be as simple as just going out to dinner, going out to a movie, something like that. But at the same time, you almost need like one time a year where you can go buck wild for a day or two. Like fuck the movie, fuck everything, don't worry about any of that little shit. You guys go lock yourself in the bedroom, or go, if you are not sober, go on a bender for a day or two with your homie and just with your girl and just drink. Do whatever you need to do.
Honestly, it is important to put that time aside because when you have kids, especially when you have multiple kids, you have to separate your time to each individual child,
Yep.
their needs, whatever they need. And it does, it takes a lot. It's a lot. Like right now, I have so much going on with my kids that I have to be back and forth at the school. Like that, it's monopolizing my time right this second because of what they got going on.
I think a lot of people forget too. You get so focused on the kid, and then you may focus on working on your relationship and making sure that stays strong. But one thing you also have to remember, you also need that time for you. So it may not always be something with your partner. It may be you need to just go out to a movie. Maybe you just need to go out to dinner. Shit, I would love a dinner by myself. I know some people think that's weird, but if I could just go sit and eat and chill and not have to worry about anything, fuck yeah, I'll take that. So it's important to find that time for you and for your partner, and find kind of new things to do, find new experiences. Because if you're going out, you're doing different things, even as a family, every couple of weeks or whatever, that makes a difference too. Because it's whenever becomes stagnant and everything, you start kind of losing interest, and it's not the same either. So
It feels like you're living with a roommate.
yeah, almost. And that's hard. And I feel like a lot of couples go through that. I mean, a lot of people go through, you aren't as, I'm trying to think what I can say on here. You aren't as active in the bedroom, and that tends to be a common like fight between a lot of people, a lot of partners. And hey, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be going in there every single day and busting one out. I mean, that's kind of hard whenever you have kids.
Right.
But finding a time every week, at the most every 2 weeks, I feel like if you aren't doing it, if like it's less than that, then you guys got to work on that, because you need that time, that personal time together.
Like for me as a mother, I value prioritizing time to put aside for myself when my
Right.
kids are in school. Sometimes it's hard because I have IEP meetings, I have to be at the school, I have my own therapy, I'm working on my mental health continuously.
Yep.
And that monopolizes my free time when they're in school. So when I do have the kids, this is my only free time, to be honest with you. PodTox.
Being a single parent, I mean, I don't. Whenever I was doing it, I don't remember a time that I did get like free time at all. It's
Right.
almost like whenever they're asleep, you can try, but at the same time, if their schedules are all different, because once you have more than one kid too, it gets a little bit trickier because they won't go to bed at the same time. Somebody wakes up and needs
Oh
something.
my God. The bedtime struggle with kids is,
It's
it's
hard.
draining. Right. It gets draining sometimes. Like my kids, they get like a burst of energy before bedtime. And
Hmm.
it's like, I could tell when they start overacting up that within like 20 minutes, they're going to be done.
They're gonna be tired as hell.
Right,
Well, and
right.
then you finally get everybody asleep. You're like, all right, this is my time for me, and it's just like,
I
oh,
fall asleep. I start dozing off
yep,
before them half the time.
yeah, because you're just so damn tired. It
Right.
can take a lot of
It is
energy. I
hard.
mean, shit.
It's hard to get free time and prioritizing. Like, I loved, like, I can't wait until the weather gets a little warmer so I can
Yeah.
start going back on my daily walks and being out in nature and grounding myself. And because that's what makes me feel better. That's like my dopamine rush.
What do you do in the winter?
I have a treadmill. She got a little dust on her right now. I'm not gonna lie. I have it, but I just haven't been on there. So, but honestly, I have a vibration plate. I've been trying to do things like my time though right now, I got a lot of things going on with my kids that are just taking priority over all of that.
What's a vibration plate?
So I got this plate on TikTok and you
Oh
stand
God.
on it and it vibrates and it shakes you and it's supposed to mimic like running, but you just stand there. But the best part is it helps my anxiety because it gives you like this intense shake, but it feels good. It helps me with when I feel overstimulated.
That's weird.
I'll
I just
show it to you.
I
Yeah.
gotta see this thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. That seems strange. I would just go outside. I'd start running. I mean,
You know what
yeah,
it is? To go out, well, today it's not that bad, but the past few weeks, in order to go outside, I got to wear two coats. I don't like it.
dude, we had two winter storms this week, literally two big storms. So Monday we got a whole bunch of snow, and then Friday we got a whole bunch of snow. And I was out driving, went to my first stop, and my first stop that I had to go to, it was a small little town out in the country. So the weather was not great there. So I was supposed to make it about 40 minutes away, and I called them and I was like, hey, there's no way this is going to be rough. So I start heading back into my town, but to do that, I had to go through country roads. And there were so many spots through the country that I was literally just driving and couldn't see the road.
That's
Like,
scary.
can't see nothing. Like it's because all it's out in the country, so all that snow is blowing all over the place. It's blown across the road, so you literally can't see anything. And then it's snowing on top of it. And what was really bad is twice a car was coming the opposite direction. So not only can you not see, but fucking where is the road? I don't know how far to get over.
Right. You can't tell like where the road is bending and turning, and that's scary. I don't like that.
It was a scary ass drive. I don't have too many of those because I drive all the time. So, like, I'm pretty comfortable in my skills. But, dude, like, that was the worst.
Now,
That was
this
bad.
was during the day, right?
Yeah, this was middle of the
You know,
day.
you know what I have a problem driving at night. Oh my God.
Yeah.
When I drive at night, my eyes are I'm having surgery in 2 weeks on my eyes
Yeah.
to get that situated. So I'm excited about that. So I'll be able to have 20/20 vision.
I don't know. I don't like driving at night too much. I have to do it quite a bit, so I just kind of deal with it. It's whenever it rains and it's nighttime because then it's all reflecting off the road and all types of shit. I don't like that. I try to avoid driving at those times.
No, insurance does not pay for eye surgery. Unfortunately, it's considered cosmetic.
Yeah.
So I have to pay out of pocket for it. But it's an investment back into myself. And that's what I do during my recovery. I reinvest back into myself and my family and my kids and things to keep better in everyone.
Eye surgery scares the shit out of me.
I'm nervous. So they told me that they're going to give me Valium. So I'm going to Uber there because I don't have anybody that could drive me. So I'm going
Right.
to Uber there. And in order to get out, I have to Uber out of there because they're giving me Valium and
They can't
I
just
don't.
send you.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Scott, usually those surgeries are pretty costly.
Yeah.
I've looked at them too. You can do like a little payment plan thing. You can do credit cards and all types of shit. Uh, yeah, man, I'm super nervous because I'm afraid, like knowing my luck, something would go wrong, and then
Right. It's
I'd be blind or some shit.
so the doctor told me. So Ricky's right. It's about 3 grand an eye, and what they do is they just reshape your cornea so that you can see better.
What is your prescription?
I don't know anymore. I haven't been to an eye doctor in like 5 years.
Oh, girl.
You know what I did? You guys, I did something. So, like 5 years ago, on Black Friday, I got a really good deal for contacts. So I ordered a shit ton of them, so that I wouldn't have to keep paying to see an eye doctor. And I've just been using them over the years. But to this point, I this doctor, what they do, they just go in and they correct everything. And if it doesn't work the first time, it would be $400 more an eye to fix it at that point.
With our eye doctors, they don't let you get more than a year of contacts. And
I
you,
went through like Glasses USA or something online.
so even those you can get a year, but that's it because you have to basically enter a prescription almost.
Right,
So they let you get a year, and then after that, you have to go in for an appointment. Like if you don't go in, you can't get more contacts.
right. I ordered so many that I just made them stretch through the time.
Yeah, that's crazy, homie. That's how
I
you
know.
hurt yourself. That's that is
I
one thing that in recovery you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be taking care of yourself and going to those appointments and
But
shit.
honestly, Kyle, I have to prioritize what's important, especially like right now. My kids have so many appointments.
Sure.
Tomorrow, I got to bring 4 kids to a psychiatrist appointment. Four. I'm going to be in the psychiatrist's office from like 8 in the morning till like 1 in the afternoon.
Oh dang, Katie said not anymore. You can put anything in for your prescription. That's
Right.
crazy. See, and I haven't tried it for years because I just go because that's something. I mean, obviously the psychiatrist appointment is important, but so are your eyes. If you can't see, you're screwed.
But right now, I just have so much going on to help my kids get on the right track because it's hard when there's just so many things going on. I have the school
Yeah.
calling me left and right. I have to go to the school tomorrow for a meeting. Like it's one thing after the next.
Is it like behavioral stuff
So it's bullying.
because they're getting bullied
Yeah.
and then they just want to come home?
So my kids are coming home from school like mentally devastated. They're getting severely bullied on the school bus. Like it's bad. It's to the point where my therapist is getting involved and filing against the school.
Well, and you understand how serious that can get from my situation. I
Right.
mean, whenever it goes extreme, it's like it can get really, really bad. I
So
feel
at this point, my therapist said, because I showed her the school's response to me,
they don't do
and
anything.
she said that by law, because she's a mandated reporter, she has to file against the school because they're not doing anything to protect
Mhm.
my kids. And that is what is really hurting me right this second because I'm trying to get them all situated and on the right track.
The schools really don't do anything. Um, Honestly, so far they've made things worse. And whenever some of this stuff is done, I mean, depending on how things play out, I'm probably going to go after them because they fucked up completely.
Right.
And it's we supposedly had all that like all that litigation against bullying and all the schools were supposedly doing so good and all types of stuff. I don't believe that for a second. I see it more and more. I think this is the worst it's ever been.
Me too. And it's so sad. My daughter even got slapped in the back on the school bus, and the bus monitor did nothing about it. And when I go into that school tomorrow, they, I'm telling you, I'm going in there with that mama bear energy of this is not happening no more. I want answers now. Also, my son's therapist wants a meeting with the school as well.
That's where everything happens too, is on the bus. I
Right.
think the bus is a big problem.
I
Uh,
got my kids moved. I got my two youngest. My two oldest are good on the bigger school bus, but my two youngest were really struggling. So in their IEP, I made it so that they went on a different bus because the other bus was too overstimulating for them. And they kept getting bullied. But now the bullying is continuing on the minibus, and the bus monitor is ignoring it.
are these school buses or are they public?
So it's not through the school. It's like a corporate. It's a corporation that has nothing to do with the school, unfortunately.
That is the same thing that happened with
So
us.
now I'm literally I am going after them. Like I'm not gonna have my kids come home on a daily basis mentally distraught because of what's going on with the school.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable. Kids have enough on their shoulders. They don't need additional stress like that.
I agree. The schools nowadays, it's just becoming more and more of a joke. It really is. Like the shit that they're doing in school now is pathetic. And between the bullying, the way they take care of the kids in general, I mean, it's a complete joke. I mean, kids get bullied for all types of reasons, right? Especially if they are different. All of our kids that are involved all have like mental issues here and there, like something that they can't control. And a lot of that is what they are all getting bullied for.
Right.
So yeah, it's all stuff because they don't, I don't know. I feel like kids aren't stressed stuff like that the same way. Like nowadays, it's like everybody has a problem, so get over it. It used to be back in my day, at least. I mean, if someone was mentally challenged or something was going on with somebody, you didn't make fun of them. You tried to help them, and you understood. Hey, yeah, that person has something going on that they can't control, and if you were going to interact with them, you just knew how to fit into that equation. It's not like that anymore. I think that's part of the problem. It's just kids nowadays, because of the internet and just the culture and how entitled so many kids are now, they treat fellow classmates like shit. I mean, horribly.
Right. And also, I think that the adults in some of these kids' lives say things that are inappropriate and the kids hear it, so they
Mhm.
repeat it. And that's what's happening in my case. So, oh, your dad left for milk one day and he never came back. Ha ha ha.
I don't think it's just the parents. It's the parents not paying attention to like what the kids are watching and doing. So they'll get on their phone or their tablet or whatever and watch a whole bunch of shit and watch people like beat up on other people online, and then they go to school and do the same thing and use the same language.
It has to be taken seriously because you see kids literally ending their lives over
Yeah.
being bullied. And that right there breaks my heart that sometimes kids feel like when they do ask for help, like my kids, telling the bus monitor, doing the right things, and still being discarded.
Mhm.
No, you're not going to do that.
We had people that unalived themselves back like in our grade, and it like I remember that because so the middle school that I went to, it was a more it was more African American, which it was kind of interesting because before that I had gone to white schools, kind of, but it was more African Americans, and it was a tighter knit community almost. It just because a lot of them were all from the same neighborhood, and I was kind of just inserted into that, and that's where I got some of my first black friends, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's totally different environments, but whenever that happened, where one of the people that was I don't know. They weren't like crazy popular. They were semi-popular, but it they unalived themselves, and it was like people breaking down in the hallway, and everybody upset. One of my homies' dads unalived themselves, and when that happened, it was the same thing. He pew-pewed himself in the head, and it was we dang near had a full like school trauma day because of that, because it was so serious and he was such a large part of the community, and it was just crazy. It was crazy to watch and be a part of, because especially in my case, like my family was not close. My parents and I were not even close. It just
Right.
wasn't the same type of environment. So whenever I went to school and I saw that and the way everybody kind of supported each other and took care of each other, it's like a breath of fresh air. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's just something that shouldn't be stood for. And if it ever happens with your kids, you are your kid's voice. You are
Mhm.
the advocate. You have to step up and make sure that these things get taken care of.
If you're not there all the time, like if you are a uh, broken household or whatever, where the other parent is somewhere else and you don't have all that control and time to see everything, just do whatever you can. Just make sure if there is a problem, you can you can handle it and you actually know what's going on. Try to stay informed, because that's one of the things that I feel like hurt me, is I wasn't getting all the information because my ex keeps everything from me. So I found stuff out whenever it was too late, and it just I don't know, it was hard. All right, we wanna go into the next topic, especially with someone from Cali in here. We wanted to talk about the California wildfires. They are getting freaking intense, man. Like they have wiped out. I can't remember how many acres it said. I'm gonna say it was around like 26,000, and I think it
That's
was
devastating.
yeah,
Devastating.
yeah. I think it was actually more than that, but it has unalived. The coroner said, I want to say the coroner said like 18 people. They have like 16 confirmed, and then the coroner said it was 18. But
The
it's
other thing is all of the wildlife. I have
Mhm.
seen videos of animals that were like singed and burnt, and it's not just people. People lost everything, their home, their life, their livelihood, things that they worked so hard for.
People don't understand the devastation that this causes and for how long. Because even once they finally get this fire out, I mean, the fire is about to reach some of the ritzy areas. Like it's getting to the point there. I think there were like seven, eight, nine bigger actors that have already lost their homes. Like it's crazy the amount of people that are getting affected by this, and wildlife, the natural the natural area itself, and like farming and businesses and all types of stuff, all that stuff has to recover, and it's just takes years and years. It's just like Hawaii getting hit. They took a devastating blow too. The
What
wildfire
about North
devastation.
Carolina? Like
Yeah,
that whole tragedy there. We have so many different states that are in distress, and
yeah.
it's not being talked about on the media. It's all on social media, but the actual media isn't giving any of this enough attention.
So I've seen a lot of stuff. That's pretty much all I've seen the media talking about. The problem is, and I feel like this happens with every disaster, so they have all this coverage while it's happening and like maybe a couple of days after. But once everything kind of dies down, all those people are still dealing with everything that happened and all the damage that was done, but then it's completely forgotten. Like
Right.
nobody remembers it.
A lot of people are referencing like, oh, everyone's talking about California, but North Carolina got forgotten about. I mean, those
Right.
people there have to start off at ground zero too. And these are unexpected things. Like life can take a turn at any time,
Hmm.
and you need to be prepared. Like you have had a fire in your house before.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell people like what you did when you got out? Was there any prized possessions that you made sure you grabbed?
I tried to some extent. So whenever the fire hit and I realized what was happening, obviously got kids, wife, dog, all the living people out first. So once they were out, I went back inside because
How
I
did your house catch on fire for the people that don't know?
so I have a fireplace in my house, and a guy came and cleaned my chimney. And whenever he cleaned the chimney, he was a dude that does this every day. He accidentally disconnected the inner flue of the fireplace, and it caused the outer flue to heat up whenever we had fires in the fireplace, and it ignited in the wall. So it was spreading through the wall and up into the attic by the time we knew something was wrong because it finally started burning out. Uh,
Wow.
but so everything starts. I got everybody out, made sure everybody was good, and I I was afraid of losing everything. Now, something that I found out that you really, it's probably one of the most important things I'll ever tell you. If you have a fire in your house, no questions asked, let that motherfucker burn. Let it burn. You want a total loss because if you have a total loss, which you have to lose 65%, that's classified as a total loss. If you have that, you get a big check and you can get everything back. Yes, it may be a pain in the butt. I'm sure there are some things that are going to go that can't be replaced. Totally get it, but you'll still get a big check. If you don't have a total loss, even with insurance, you will end up paying thousands of dollars. Like we had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to recover from that because even with insurance and doing everything we are supposed to, and the fact that it wasn't on us, we still got screwed because I think the person who evaluated the house also didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Wow.
And yeah, we
So
got
I
screwed.
have a question. At that point, so did you go after the person that did the chimney because it was their fault? Like, how does that work?
So we have no way to prove that it was him. The reason we know it was him was because one, the firefighters told us, "Hey, the inner flue was connected." Um,
Disconnect it? You mean,
right, or
okay.
disconnected, yeah. And we had so many fires in that fireplace beforehand. If it had happened sooner, we would have known about it. Plus, no one's messed with the fireplace besides him. So it was literally the fires that we had directly after we had it cleaned. That's what caused it. So it's very obvious it was him, but there's no real proof. So we're just shit out of luck.
So when that happened, did you have to go to like a hotel? Like, what was the process of that?
So you're supposed to. You're supposed to have to go to a hotel, depending on the damage. You go to a hotel, they make sure everything's good, whatever. What ended up happening, because we didn't have a total loss, the insurance did not put us in a hotel, so we had to stay there. We had basically one wall had a giant hole in it to the outside that we just had to have a tarp over, and it was winter. Like it was
Wow.
cold as fuck outside. It was like 3 degrees. So
Now, smell isn't like this, like everything smells singed, right? Like
right,
your couch, your pillows, your
right,
furniture, your everything.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Everything had smoke damage. Um,
Now, did they clean that or did you replace it? Because I've seen people say that they came and packed up their whole house and like took all their clothes out of their dressers
yeah.
and like they washed it.
They cleaned some of it, but not much and not very well. And the company that came and cleaned everything, they did a few $1,000s worth of damage while they were in the house because they were careless. Like
Wow.
PS5 got broken, controller, Christmas tree, and a bunch of ornaments got ruined. They put a hole in our wall. It was just a laundry list of stuff, literally just because they didn't care. So
Wow.
they ended up doing much damage. We did have some of the things saved, other things we had to replace. And yeah, I mean, it cost a lot of money. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. It was a lot of what we had. And so we don't like, we still, it's been a few years now. We still don't really have a cushion because we spent everything extra that we had on that. So
Right.
yeah, it sucks. And like they shut off the gas whenever you have a fire. They have to come shut off the gas at your house so you don't have like a explosion somewhere. They shut off the gas, didn't tell us. It's the middle of the winter, and it was about to be the weekend. They didn't come and turn that shit back on for 4 days. All somebody had to do was come out and unlock like a padlock thing, and they weren't in a rush. Like they don't give a fuck about you or what's going
Wow.
on with you.
Do you have like a fireproof safe or anything where you keep like birth certificates and documents? I
No,
think that everyone should have something like that.
you should, if not a fireproof safe, keeping your stuff easily accessible. Like, don't keep it upstairs in a closet down the hall that you're never going to be able to get to if the house catches fire. Have it, you can have a safe in your coat closet and just have the shit in there. Like all the things that you need, like birth certificates, social security cards, probably some like extra checkbooks so you instantly have something, credit card if you need it, stuff like that. So I would definitely recommend something. The biggest thing I would recommend, if it's a smaller fire that can really be prevented, have fire extinguishers. We had
Right.
fire extinguishers, which was one of the reasons I was able to save my house. Now, if it's really starting to catch and the fire extinguisher isn't going to completely put it out, I wouldn't bother. At that point, I would collect your check. But if it's if it's something really small, remember whenever I don't know if everyone's used a fire extinguisher, they do make a big mess. They ruin a lot of things. Probably most things in that room are going to be shot. But if you only have to deal with one room instead of potentially more, sometimes it's
Right.
better.
I follow Spencer Pratt on TikTok. I don't know if anyone has seen his TikToks, but
Mhm.
he literally lost his house. And before he lost his house, he was showing how the fire was coming that way because it was coming like over a mountain.
Yep.
But he never expected and thought that his house was going to go. And it did. And he didn't grab the things that he didn't think about. He just thought that it was just going to come maybe a little bit near the house.
Right.
And that's what happened. And it's heartbreaking to see people that lost everything.
Well, and like my only thought whenever it happened, just the way it was going for Carson's room first, on the upper floor. And my only thought was all the other kids have things at another parent's house. Everybody else, if this hits, they will not lose everything. It would just be us and Carson. So whenever I went back in and started grabbing stuff, I grabbed trash bags and went to her room and just started throwing everything I could of hers in there so that she wouldn't lose everything because
Smart.
she was like 4 at the time. How do you tell a 4-year-old you have nothing?
Right.
So I mean that was probably the big thing. Besides all the important stuff, it wasn't coming out super fast up top because I have fire resistant insulation in my attic that I put there. But it was spreading fast enough. I knew it would hit her room.
Wow.
Yeah. And whenever I grabbed some of her shit and made sure, okay, now she at least has some things, I went downstairs and started, every time it would pop out of the wall, I started hitting the spots where it was starting to pop out to try and slow it from it taking the second floor. Because if I knew it took the second floor, it was going to take everything. So,
Now, when you got out of the house, did you literally just stand there and watch them? Like
Yep,
that's
you
that has to be traumatizing all in itself. Thinking like, oh my God, everything I worked so hard for.
is about to go.
Right.
Yeah, and it was hard because me and the police officer that showed up, we were in there trying to contain things, and then we started realizing this is about to get really bad. So we got out. The fire department wasn't even there yet. So we had to
Wow.
go outside, knew that we couldn't do anything else, and we're still waiting on someone to come and put out the fire. So we had to watch while no one's here to help us yet. Like nobody, because it took them 12 minutes to get to our house because they had four fires that night, and the responding station is a smaller station and it's got volunteers. So we just had to wait.
My heart just really breaks for all the people that lost things. And it's like, I can't imagine because you have that personal experience. So,
It sucks. I wish I didn't have that experience. It sucked ass.
right.
Yeah. So Marie's right. For everyone, if you're in here and you're going through that, know somebody going through it. If you can do a little extra to help possibly some of the people that may be less fortunate that are dealing with this, every little bit helps, even if it's just to get somebody a meal or help somebody buy like a space heater so they can be warm right now.
Like
It's not bad.
those people that got out left with the clothes on their back, half of
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
because they really didn't believe that it was going to be such a loss.
Like I said, the benefit is as long as you have insurance, it's not going to be as big of a deal because you will get a check that will be a come up. You'll make more than you lost in the end. It's the people that had light damage. Those are the people that are screwed. The people that didn't lose everything, those are the people that are screwed.
Right.
Yeah, it's rough. Just if, like I said, if you got family there, if you're dealing with it yourself, just be careful, be smart. If it looks like you need to get out, it is more important that you lose everything and you just rebuild than losing your life.
You're right, Grace. Don't forget about the firefighters that are out there volunteering, putting their time and
Yes.
effort to help people. They deserve a meal. They deserve love and compassion and empathy as well.
I'm sure there are like GoFundMe's and stuff for some of the fire stations so that you can, supply a meal or so. I'm sure there's a way to do that. So yeah, if you just want to do something nice and help out, buy them all some pizza or some shit. It doesn't matter. Something to help out a little bit because they're out there risking their lives and working hard. I mean, they're killing it right now trying to get these things out. So.
And also think about all the schools that were lost as well, because those kids have nowhere to go to school now. Like that's another whole
Yeah.
situation.
That's one I think since COVID, the online learning has been so big. Yes, it will be a change, but they've kind of made that work now, so where it's not as impactful on the kids.
If it's not one thing, it's another. I just feel like there's just been a lot of really crazy weather
Mhm.
situations or like natural disasters. And it makes
Yes.
you think like, did somebody discard a cigarette out the window? Was it arson? How was it caused?
You mentioned when we were talking before that somebody started like a conspiracy theory about P. Diddy starting it to like hide
Right.
evidence and all that. That shit is wild. I don't
Has
know.
anyone else seen that saying that P Diddy started it so that they can get rid of evidence for all these things? You have to think Oprah with the whole Hawaii thing. She was tied to that. They're saying there's so many conspiracy theories though. Oh, they have someone in custody.
Di-
I didn't know that.
I really don't think it was Pete. No, like I could not see that. I get what you're saying, but I don't think people also understand it is extremely hard to start a fire. Somehow it's really easy on accident, but to start a fire that is actually going to grow to that magnitude is crazy. Like that is extreme,
But
extreme.
also, the whole P. Diddy situation, you have to think there's a lot of people in Hollywood, there's a lot of famous people that names are being tied to this whole thing. And I kind of think that that could be a possibility. Like, you never know.
And Grace is right. It is very dry in Cali.
And the wind, because if you go to Spencer Pratt's videos,
Mm.
when before the fire was coming towards his house, it was so windy you could hear the wind whipping around in the background.
That's what really causes them to spread. It's just yes, it is very easy to get a fire going. I guess I shouldn't have said it that way. It's getting it to that magnitude where it's
Right.
actually going to become a wildfire. Like that's extreme because normally, depending where it starts, you can get that stuff out pretty quick. Um, it's the ones that don't get put out right away. That's where it's hard.
Beth, the conspiracy theory that I kind of saw on TikTok is saying that if all of those areas burned down, there's evidence that would have went with that whole case on P. Diddy. That's the conspiracy theory I heard.
I mean, these are some of the most powerful people. You got to think. I shouldn't say powerful because really that's not the right word. They're some of the most influential. That's one of the things that you got to be afraid of because those people have influence to get to some of those powerful people and get them to do things. Because everybody thinks actors and actresses and all and athletes and all these people are so rich. Yes, they have a lot of money, but there's a whole different class of people above them that those are the people in power. Like
And also, I've seen a lot of really negative comments because people are like, oh, what are you complaining for? You have so much money. You have this, you have that. But you have to think these people worked hard to get everything that they got in their house. And they're human beings, just like anyone else.
mhm.
Just because they're in a different financial bracket doesn't mean that they are not hurting and feeling that same loss. Like, it's painful. Just because they have money doesn't mean nothing. It still hurts.
Fortunately, a lot of those people have like other houses and stuff to go to. That's one of the benefits. But again, everybody loves to hate on people who got money. Most of those people work their asses off for that money, so you can't really hate them too much. I saw Scott. Why did it do that? Hold on.
I saw that about something about LA, smart LA by
Yes,
2028.
Scott said something about Smart LA. I have not looked at that yet. I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm curious. I'm guessing it has something to do with like fire prevention and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't got to do a lot of other research into any of that. You want to finish up talking about? We had a couple other things. There was the cake thing feel like the bird flu thing. That's what I wanted to talk about. So there was also in Cali an incident of bird flu, and it kind of like spread around to a bunch of people. It was a little bit over 60 or something. I don't know. It was kind of hard to get information. I don't know if this was like all at one time or if they're talking about that many people over the course of a few years or whatever ended up getting bird flu. But this little girl ended up getting it, and it makes you very sick. It can, cause things to be pretty serious if left untreated. And I just got to thinking, like, with between these unidentified objects flying around on the other side of the U.S., we got maybe bird flu hidden over here. We got the fires hidden up there. We got
Natural disaster in North Carolina,
dude,
the flood.
it's everywhere. There is something all over the place. And like I said, we said it, I think, on the last one. One of the biggest things is I think it's always been like this, but people didn't know it as much because there wasn't social media to spread all this. I will say in the last probably like 8 years or so, things have appeared to be getting worse.
Wow, went from $1,200 for insurance to $8,000 a year later for fire insurance. That is literally crazy.
Hey, Cali is expensive, 670 a month. I mean, that sounds about right. But that's where all the wildfires end up. Cali gets hit by those constantly.
I've seen those objects up in the sky. I have multiple videos posted on my page showing things that I've even my kid. You know what my kid said though the other day? They said, "Mom, it's weird. We were seeing like the drones all the time, and
Mhm.
now all of a sudden they're not there anymore."
I haven't heard anything about it. Like it was everywhere, and then I haven't heard anything about it for like a week,
Right.
probably.
And I've noticed that when I look up in the sky, I'm not seeing what I was seeing a few weeks ago. It's crazy.
I don't know, and that's maybe it was nothing. Who knows? I'm really worried, especially with kids. I am worried of where the world is going in the next decade. Like,
Me
can you
too.
think of how much things have changed in the last 10 years? Like, we're in a totally different planet now.
Right. Right.
Like,
And also social media, like this app, I feel like you could come on here and get the truth about things. You Google things and you're not getting the accurate story. And now they want to shut us down. So it's almost like what really is going on?
yeah, so the shutting TikTok down though, again, I am one of the people that's for shutting down TikTok because the amount of information that gets leaked to harmful sources, the amount of like bullying that happens on here, and there are a lot of sick people on here, and unfortunately, the helpful content doesn't really get pushed like the nonsense does. There are a lot of good people on here that do a lot of good things and stuff, but the TikTok is kind of a messed up place. It,
I I disagree with you on that, to be honest with you. I understand what you're saying, but I also think that TikTok is a good outlet for a lot of people. Like I heal out loud on this app. And if that was taken away, I feel like it's taken away my sense of community. I don't have friendship outside of this app really.
But you could have healed out loud on any social media platform.
But also I feel like I worked hard to put myself out there,
Sure,
to build a platform from the ground up and to meet all the friends that I have. Like I have amazing friends that I've met here on this app.
sure,
And I've made so many genuine connections with people. And
sure.
it just breaks my heart that that could potentially be taken away.
Amanda's right. TikTok is definitely the easiest. That's one of the reasons why I chose TikTok. It's it's hard because like we have put a lot of time into TikTok building our platform and everything. It's more it's the outside stuff that I don't think a lot of people get because how much of your info actually does get leaked on here. It's quite a bit. The stuff that gets fed to us compared to the things that like other countries see is pretty astronomically different. It's the way everything with TikTok in the US was handled has been very poor, and I think that's why I feel like it's a good idea. If it was just TikTok the way it is without the outside factors, I would be pretty pissed that TikTok was going. Because of the outside factors, I get it.
See, I don't know. I feel like your information gets everywhere. Like no matter what, people
Sure.
are like you give a credit card, it could potentially be scanned.
Yeah.
Like there's a new scam going around in Massachusetts. I it was sent to me yesterday and I've been receiving text messages of you owe money for Easy Pass. It's a
Mhm.
scam. It's not accurate. You really don't owe Easy Pass money.
I got those two. Would they call it iPass here? Um, we had that happen. I want to say like 4 months ago, where they came in. Like I just randomly got a text, and it was like I want to say it said I owed like 132 bucks. So it was something crazy, and I was like,
Wow.
man, I must have had late fees or something happened, and it was all like seemed official. But then we went on the website because I was like, I just don't see how this is a thing. And sure enough, it was all fake. And it's just like everybody's always trying to find a way to take money from people who aren't making the money. Like, go take money from somebody who has it, motherfucker. Like, we out here fighting.
You just can't trust people this day and age. Like the world has really shifted, like you said, from even a decade ago.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The scams have always been big ever since the internet. Um, I think a lot of that is, I guess, once credit cards and stuff started becoming popular, that was where it was. And the internet came around the same time. So once all that stuff was accessible, where they could send credit card info, phone numbers, addresses, all this stuff, they like it was like a door opened up for people from other completely different countries or wherever to be like, oh, we can get all this information and get all these people from all the way over here. And it just started expanding like that, and it's slowly gotten worse. I mean, how many fake calls and texts and all that nonsense do you get every single day? I get a shit ton because I've got two separate phones.
Right.
So it's like on both of them, I get blown up all the time.
There's always like those ones, oh, you have a UPS package and it's waiting
Yeah.
to be delivered and it's going to the wrong address. Like, dude, we're not stupid. We've gotten those text messages a million times. I'm not opening it up.
I remember back whenever I was like 18, I had somebody randomly call me. I didn't really know better yet. I had someone call me and say, what the fuck was it? It was like I hadn't paid my taxes or something.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, the IRS, like a fake
yeah.
IRS call. I know
Well,
what you're talking
it
about.
was like, oh, we're coming to arrest you and all types of stuff. And
Right.
just for that split second, I was like, what if this is real? Like how great, because they're literally saying, what if this was real and someone's coming to arrest me right now? And then, of course, I was like, no, that's got to be bullshit. You kind of tell. But it's just, you always have it in the back of your mind. You don't know what's real or not anymore. So that one time you do actually have someone really trying to reach out to you because you owe money or something,
You might not believe it.
and then you get fucked, and it's just like, what are you supposed to do there? Yeah, it's rough. So
Right.
heck yeah, we love you guys. We're gonna
Bye,
go
guys.
check out the sick kids. Deuces.